I mean, we are in the presence of a celebrity right now. This is
We are.
She did the Super Bowl commercial with Bill Murray and Jeep.
That's it right there.
This is it. This is the one that started it all.
You planned that.
No, I didn't, but yeah, that's cool.
Could we be in line for something funny to come out of the mouth?
Just might happen.
What a little key.
She's the best.
Everyone deserves to feel their best. Everyone deserves to move their best and not have pain.
I'm a little upset that Ben got like 2 inches taller because he's already tall, dark, and handsome enough.
Culture is something we think about like all the time at Strookies. You know, we're all coming from different cultures.
Our comments have exploded
Through the roof.
So there you go.
Good afternoon, Lancaster. Welcome to Lancaster Connects. My name is Ben McClure, your host for today, flying solo. Jeff is out of town. He's actually on his way down to the bedding conference down in South Carolina. He's actually going to be speaking there to the broader mattress industry, which is a really cool thing. Talking about some of the cool things that we do here at Gardner's Mattress and More, which is where we broadcast Lancaster Connects. So safe travels to Jeff. Good luck down there at the bedding conference. I've got a great show to deliver to you today. We've got a great guest. We'll bring her on in a little bit. Julie Ross from Pocket Books right here in Lancaster. So excited to talk to her and learn more about Pocket Books, a great local bookstore right here in Lancaster County. You're probably watching this live on Facebook or YouTube. If you are, I'd love to hear from you during the show. Give us some comments. Ask questions. If you've got a question for our guest, Julie, type them into the chat window in Facebook or YouTube, and they'll pop up on our side, and we can get those questions read or comments, whatever. Tell us what you like about the show. Give us a heart, whatever. Love to hear from you during the show. If you're not watching live and you watch later, great. Thanks for watching. But know that you can always watch all of our episodes of Lancaster Connects. I think this is episode 142 or 3. It's getting up there. We've been doing this about 3 years. So we've got 3 years worth of episodes. 142, producer Chris Stone from Cast Ahead Productions has told me. 142 episodes. All previous 141 episodes can be viewed on the LancasterConnects.com website, LancasterConnects.com/episodes. You can scroll through and see all of the past episodes with all of the great local Lancaster County guests, some of whom are small businesses like Julie from my guest for today's show, nonprofits, charitable organizations, all local businesses, and even Brett Michaels from Poison. We had Brett Michaels from Poison on about a year ago. You can watch that show and all the others on our LancasterConnects.com website. I think that's it for the intro today. We're going to keep it short. I want to get into our guest. I've got like my notes, and I've got all kinds of handwritten notes on the edges for my guest. Let's bring Julie Ross on from Pocket Books Lancaster. Hey, Julie, how are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to dig in, learn more about you, learn more about Pocket Books. First, I want to know, are you a Lancaster native? I don't know that about you.
I am not actually. I'm a transplant.
Okay.
I moved here for opening the bookstore. Now I co-own
Really?
the store with 2 people, and
Okay.
one of my co-owners is local. She recently did the math, and they've been here for 12 generations.
Oh,
So
cool.
she had been living elsewhere. She'd been in California for graduate school, and then we were in Ohio briefly early on in the pandemic. But she always wanted to settle back here. So when we decided we were going to open a bookstore, she was insistent that it be in this area because bookstores are not mobile. So we needed to pick the spot with care. So she strong
Well,
armed us.
you picked a beautiful place to have your bookstore. Where is home for you then?
I mean, I don't know. I lived all over. I grew up in Massachusetts and Ohio,
Oh,
and
cool.
then I went to university in Massachusetts, but then lived in New York, Washington, D.C., San
Oh
Francisco
my
a couple
goodness.
of times, Southern
Yeah.
California. I've been all over, but I'm so glad to be settled here. It was funny because Austin, when she told us that this was where she wanted to open the bookstore, Jessica, our third co-owner, and I, we had
Yeah.
never been here. And so she suggested it, and Jess and I both said, yeah, great, because we both really have lived all over. So we were like, that sounds amazing. Let's permanently live in Lancaster. And Austin was like, don't you want to like see it first before you say that? And we were like, oh, that's a good idea. So we got in the car, drove over from Ohio that next weekend, and within like 10 minutes of entering the city, we were like, oh yeah, no, this is incredible.
This will work.
You were right. We
This
want
will
to do
work.
this.
That's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great story, and we'll learn more about the things you like and appreciate about Lancaster in our connection cocktail at the end. But I love that story. You're like, yeah, let's start a business here, and you'd never been here before. Or,
No, I
been here
trust
10
she has
minutes.
really good taste. So she
Yeah.
vouched for it. We were like, oh yeah, it'll be fine.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's learn about Pocketbooks. Pocketbooks Shop, right? That's the official name of the business.
Sure, I suppose. Although some people just call us Pocket, which we
Pocket.
love. We refer to ourselves as PB for Pocketbooks,
Okay.
and you can just call us Pocketbooks. We joke that the greatest mistake we ever made was incorporating under the name Pocketbooks space shop, like two S's in a row. Who wants anyway? It was our greatest error so far. So you can call us whatever you want.
Hey, I've been in this business for 24 years, and mistakes are what we do, right? We learn from mistakes, and we improve and get better. But yeah, there's always things you can go back and look at and go, yeah, we could have done this a little differently. But
Yeah.
Pocketbook Shop it is. So yeah, let's learn about how Pocketbooks Shop came to be.
Yeah. So it was kind of happenstance. I mean, when the pandemic first began in 2020, I was living in San Francisco and working for Google. And then Jessica and Austin were living in Southern California, both in graduate school pursuing their doctorates. And we had been really close. I'd been to graduate school with Jessica for a master's prior. So that was how I knew her. They were randomly assigned as roommates in Southern California. So that was how they became friends. And we were all in
Wow.
California for a few years, like leading up to before the pandemic started. And we stayed close. And we were always sort of bookish people. We were bookish friends. And so we like famously we read the book A Little Life, which is kind of known to be like the saddest book ever, or at least like in like today's parlance. That's like if you know that book, you're like, oh, I've never
I
cried
don't.
harder. That's fine. I don't know that I like recommend it. If you want to like sob, if you really need the catharsis, there's like nowhere better to go. But it is easily one of the saddest books I've ever read.
Oh
But
wow.
Jess started reading it, and she was like, Austin, we actually need to get a second copy because I need you to read it at the same time as me. And then they called me right away and they were like, Julie, also pick up your copy. So we all kind of simultaneously dove into this very long, very sad book. And as we were reading it, we're like, we are going to need to talk about this. And like, doing it online is not going to work. So as soon as we finished, they actually drove up to San Francisco and we had like a live in person, like book discussion because like that's how
Wow.
serious we were about this. So that's kind of who we are as people. Like we love books, we love reading, and we love talking about it. So that was always like contextually, that's sort of the relationship. Now, sorry, flash forward to 2020 where I erroneously started the story.
Yeah.
Google went fully remote, so I was just sitting in my like way overpriced San Francisco apartment.
Sure.
They also were remote in Southern California, and for a variety of reasons, we ended up all three moving to Columbus, Ohio, which is a great place. They have an amazing kind of indie bookstore culture there. There are so many good
Okay.
bookstores. And one of the kind of only COVID safe activities we could do was like go to bookstores, like because you could be masked and they like were
Okay.
limiting how
Yeah.
many people could be in there at a time. Like we weren't eating out in public, all of the things. If we all like harken back to 2020, like
Yeah.
everything was sort of taken away, but we were able to go to bookstores and we were able to read and we were able to talk about books. So that kind of cemented that portion of our relationship. Then, like about a little over a year later, I think we were all just sort of disillusioned. Like things were never going to go back to normal as we had
Hmm.
originally thought they might. Jess was at sort of a crossroads. She had decided not to complete her doctorate and had gone into some other work at Ohio State University in Columbus. But she was at a crossroads ready for a change. We were working on her resume, and I was kind of giving her advice on like what she might want to do. And like every part of the conversation just came back to like, what if we just open the bookstore we always daydream about? Because that's what we would do. We would go to these bookstores in Columbus and come home and daydream like, well, when we have a bookstore, we're gonna, and we would have these like outlandish ideas of what we would do. Um, and so finally we were like, what if we just did it?
Did
Like
it?
maybe there's just no time like the present. Like we kept waiting for this future, this like waiting to be happy, waiting to like deserve to pursue the thing we really wanted to do. Like there's this idea, like if we grind long enough and hard enough, maybe then we can reward ourselves with the life we want. And everything about COVID was so incredibly unsettled. Like it unsettled
Yeah.
everything, right? And we were like,
Yep.
wait, tomorrow's not promised. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, what if we should just pursue our happiness right now? And so Austin was getting her nails done during this whole conversation. She was out. Jess and I were just talking about her career. By the time Austin came in from getting her nails done, we were like, okay, we've decided we actually think we should just do this. We think we should just open this bookstore. And that was when she said, okay, great. How about Lancaster? So she was very down. But
Wow.
that was, yeah. So it was sort of like, and the thing, once you know us, you know, like we're not really people who like do a lot of like thinking and stewing
Right.
and like debating. Like we're extremely action oriented. So like I
Yeah.
said, we were in the car 2 days later driving here to see the place. And then we put an offer in on the building where we have our bookstore. We bought it like 2 weeks later. So it just kind of happened quickly. Cause like once it's like planted or like taken root, we kind of fixate. And so we're like, I mean, now there's nothing else we can do. Now we have to.
That's such a fantastic story. Like, I mean, you talked a little bit about COVID, and yeah, unsettling is a great word for it. Everything. I mean, everything shut down, and then
Yeah.
of course, you're sitting around. What do you do? And like, we've talked to a number of people, and you just hear story after story of people who either changed careers and now they're doing something different, or like you and your two friends, you started a business.
Yeah, exactly. And like like I had never aspired to like be an entrepreneur. Like that's not
Yeah.
like I don't really care about that. Like I don't and what I mean by that is like I don't care about starting a business like for the
Right.
sake of starting a business, but I
Right.
love books so much and I love connecting people with books that they will love. Like that brings
Yep.
so much joy. And one of the things I really missed during COVID was like what I consider to be sort of micro interactions, like just like
Mhm.
brief moments where you're connecting with a stranger over a shared something, right? Either you like together saw something funny happen on the sidewalk, or it's just like, someone working the cash register at,
Right.
like with these micro moments with strangers. And I missed that and I missed the connection. And so that was the other thing about having a bookstore. It was like we could get some of that connection back. We
Hmm.
could like create
Hmm.
some community, which we had just been so sorely missing. So it all kind of worked out, but it ultimately felt like what we believed we could contribute to the world. Like there's a lot we can't do. Like we
Yeah.
don't know how to like cure disease. Like we're not, there are a lot of
Yep.
skills we lack. There's a lot we're not gonna be able to do. But like this felt like something we could contribute to the community that could like be a good that could create a space for people. And so we've just sort of like launched into
Yep.
this is what we're leaving behind. This is what we're creating for people.
I love that. I love the word community. You've created a community wrapped inside of a bookstore. Um, those little micro interactions. I think that's a cool way to say it too. Like in researching and doing some research on you and on the business for this show, one of the things I thought was cool is you never forget a customer's name. Was that in your
Mhm.
little? So that speaks to the community aspect of it, and having those little micro interactions with people. I think that's really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Totally. I mean, some people get kind of freaked out that I remember their names. They're like, I
Right.
was here once 3 months ago. I'm like, sorry. There are very important details in my life I don't remember.
Right.
Like,
Right.
when such and such bill is due, but I do remember your name.
Right, right. Well, that's cool. I mean, and that's a great skill to have for a customer based business, which a bookstore
Exactly.
obviously
It
is.
works out.
What separates pocketbook shops from all the other bookstores out there, including, and of course, we won't say the name, but the big online world of retail.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. There are a few things that we believe differentiate ourselves. One is the existence as a brick and mortar store, as a place where we've very intentionally designed the space and curated what is inside of it so that people feel welcome, right? And so, like, the billionaires aren't like when you have a bad day, you can't like show up at the billionaire's door and be like, I'm gonna come in just like feel better. Whereas like you can show up to our store and like it is a space for you
Yeah,
to
yeah,
feel sort of held. And so that's really,
yeah.
really important to us. And that's something that we know differentiates us from online retailers. But there's also like this there's incredible power in curation, right? Like there's a lot of power in what you do and don't carry or what you do and don't sell. And so one of the things that's been really important to us as women and then also as queer women is that it be a space that's really, really welcoming to women and to queer readers or people generally
Right.
who don't always feel safe when they walk into spaces, right? Like, especially at this kind of moment in our country, there are a lot of spaces where queer folks enter and don't necessarily instantly feel safe or feel welcomed or feel like the space is sort of curated for them. Whereas for us, we kind of go out of our way to make it so that, like, if we end up sacrificing that, like perhaps like a cisgender heterosexual person is like slightly less comfortable because there are books by trans authors and queer authors and that kind of thing highlighted. Like if we give up someone's comfort, we want to give up the comfort of the person who actually has the privilege of being curated like for and centered in all the other spaces. So we're actually choosing to like center a slightly different perspective. I don't know if that makes
Oh, it
sense.
does. It does.
It's
It does.
something that's been on our mind.
You created a safe space for people to commune,
Yeah.
not only shop for books, but then I'm guessing you have spaces where people can hang out and read said books, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we have all sorts of events and things too to enable people to come and connect with each other that way as well. So like it's sort of multi-pronged, right? Like we have our monthly like sip and stitch. So if you're into fiber arts and you just want to like do your fiber art with people kind of around, like you can come to the shop and do it there at the shop with other kind of like-minded people. We also have book clubs. We have a sci-fi fantasy book club, a horror book club, romance, and then sort of a general fiction book club. And so like that's always growing and changing as well. So we have all of these kinds of ways to connect with people, but we also we do have spaces. We have a gorgeous wraparound porch that finally now we're in the season that you can actually lounge out there. And then we have
That's
an
so
event
cool.
space upstairs so we can do events. And so like there are all of these kind of ways that we are able to create space for people to be safe and seen. We have gotten, I will say, like a couple of really interesting reactions. So I think on our website it says in a couple of places that we are a queer feminist bookstore, which is true. We are queer and we are feminists, but we just carry the books that exist. Like we're not,
Right.
we are not only carrying queer books or only carrying feminist books. We don't carry books that would make someone who is queer or a woman feel unsafe, and so there is an amount
Right.
of curation there. But I've had people come in and be so surprised that like we have, for example, that Eric Larson, the Demon of Unrest, right there, right? Like yeah, no, we still just like are a bookstore. It's just that we
Right.
also have kind of an ethos, and so that's been an interesting thing for us to figure out. Like, oh, how do we help people understand that like you can be a queer feminist bookstore that also is mainstream and like
Right.
has that kind of like mainstream new release you're looking for. So that's a needle that we're still like threading in terms of the messaging.
Sure. Sure. I as Chris was scrolling down through there, I saw Dogman, and that's
Yeah,
no
exactly.
longer. I would say no longer a favorite of my son, who just turned 10. He's now transitioned into Harry Potter,
Oh, yeah.
and I think the graphic novels have been left behind. Or
Yes.
is that what you call them? The
Yeah, exactly. Moving
whatever
on from
Dogman is.
graphic to chapter books. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's a
So
normal transition.
he's
Yeah.
he breezed through Harry Potter 1 in like a week, and now Harry Potter 2, and he's watching the movies with my his older
Mm-hmm.
sister. I can't. The words aren't coming to me.
You're
So
fine.
it's cool to see. It's cool to see him blossom in his reading there. So
For sure. Yeah.
I
No, that's one of the
realized.
really fun
Oh, go ahead.
things. Even just like speaking of kids, like adults, don't get me wrong. I love working with adults. I love helping adults find the book they want. Like my favorite thing is just to like ask what mood they want to be in. And they're usually confused at first, but then like the first thing they say is the truth. And so we can work with that and like find the right book for it. So that's super fun. But the other part that's so fun are the kids, because so we've been open 2 years now. So we have these children who started with us. Some of them were 6 months old when we opened. And so watching them, now they walk and now they talk, and
Oh
sort of
yeah,
watching
yeah.
them kind of like grow up and then grow up in what they're reading has been fun. But then we even, yeah, like have the kiddos who were reading picture books and now they're into the graphic novels, or graphic novels and now they're into the chapter books. So that's just like a very fun
That's
part of the
cool.
community too, is like kind of watching the kids grow up and like helping make sure they have the books they need to like keep kind of, stepping forward.
I love that. I love
Cool.
that. I realized we had a picture of the building on screen, but we didn't
Oh
say
yeah.
where the building was.
Oh, good point.
What is your address, and what are some landmarks
Yeah,
near?
good point. So it is 903 Wheatland Ave, which is at the
Okay.
corner of Wheatland and West End. So like we're
Yep.
right by Buchanan Park, which is right by
Okay.
F&M. We're near like Columbia Ave, sort of
Yep.
also. So like if you know where the Copper Cup is in Columbia and West End, like we're right there. So yeah, it's like nice walking distance for folks who live around the West End.
Yep.
A little bit of a longer walk from downtown, but very doable.
Yep.
But yeah, there's also parking. Since we're not quite downtown, we have a parking lot and quite a bit of street parking. So that makes it a little bit easier for folks to drive to as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Not too far from Franklin and Marshall College either.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. So, online ordering, you can do that on
Mhm.
your website.
Definitely, yeah. So we ship nationwide,
Cool.
or you can pick up in store. But one of the things that I love about our website is that you can order any book you want from the website, even if we don't have
Mm.
it in store. We'll get it in for you, depending on kind of the day of the week and the exact time. And if I'm, able to put an order in with our
Right.
warehouses right then, sometimes it'll take 1 to 2 days. Sometimes it'll take up to 7 days. But the website always shows kind of what the estimate is of how long it will take. Um, so yeah, you can always order online books we already have in store or books we don't, and we can ship them to you right there. You can see like that's a book we have there, so you can see that it's available
Hmm.
right then. Whereas yeah, others will say available in 5 to 7 days or 7 to 10 days, depending. And it's super easy, and so we consider ourselves a very viable alternative to supporting billionaires who kind of artificially deflate the prices of books and then
Hmm.
devalue them to try to put stores like ours out of business. So,
Yep. We, you know, our book is a mattress, right? And same thing.
mhm. Yep,
Same
yep,
thing.
exactly.
Online retailing is a big deal, but
Absolutely.
you used the word earlier in the conversation, curate. You curate,
Mhm.
the books that you have in there and the experiences, and we do the same thing here with the mattresses we
Exactly.
carry and the experience we provide there. So yeah, it's
Exactly.
different rectangles, right? Books and mattresses,
Totally, but no,
but
it is. It's the same premise,
yep,
right? Where like you can do all the internet research you want, but at the end of the day, like if you're not talking to someone, it's hard to know specifically for you, like how it will work, right? Like you can see how it works for other people, or but you don't know them, so like who knows if
yep.
that really translates. We experience that a lot. In fact, one of the things we do because we love curation so much is we have what are called surprise boxes,
I
and
wanted to
so you
ask you
can
about
order.
those.
Yeah, yeah. So you can order a surprise box, and our very favorite thing to do is curate based on what you're willing or able to share with us about what you have liked or what you haven't liked, and that way you can kind of discover something new, but like kind of low risk because like we're picking it out for you, and
Right,
so we can
right.
vouch for. We have favorites. We have books that we tend to know go well with other things that you might have liked. So yeah, our surprise boxes we do. Children's and middle grade surprise boxes if you're just like trying to help your kiddos or the children in your life branch out. But then we also do like swoony surprise boxes. So those are for romance readers. We
Okay,
do general fiction. We can kind of do it based on whatever it is that you like, be it nonfiction,
right.
fiction, genre, whatever. But it is kind of our favorite thing to do because that is like ultimately why we open the stores. Like our favorite thing is to just talk books. Thank you. Yes, there it is, surprise boxes. So we always have like a couple of different sizes so you can decide how much you want to spend on it. It's a great gift if you have like a reader in your life and you're not sure what they've already read or what they would like, or you're not like, I find that people love getting their readers in their lives books, but then they get nervous to get them books because they read a
Yes.
lot. And so this is a good way to do it because we can just like stuff a box that we can curate based on what we're able to learn about their reading taste.
That's cool. So when somebody purchases this, is a survey completed to like learn preferences of what they might
Yeah,
like?
exactly. Once they purchase it, we share a survey. If it's purchased
Yeah.
as a gift, we'll talk to the person who bought it and say, "Do you want to fill out the survey, or do you want to like
Yep.
give them the gift and then we send them the survey after you've kind of told them it's coming, and then they do it, so we can kind of work it, whatever people prefer that way. Or if they don't really want to do a whole survey, they can share with us their like a link to where they track their reading if they do that online, so we can kind of see what they've read and how they've rated things. So if people use Storygraph as our personal favorite, that's what we all use, is the Storygraph. But so we can like look at people's habits that way. So there are a few different ways. I mean, the good thing about this, since like it's a small business, like there's
Yep.
nothing automated here. So if you want a box, we're just going to talk to you and figure out exactly how you want to go about making it perfect. And you can be as hands off or hands on as you want. We've had some people come who are, in some ways, like they're tough because they've read so extensively and they know
So much.
exactly what
Yep.
they like. But we love that. We're like, okay, we have to get creative here. And then
That's a
other people are
challenge.
like, I'm just exactly. It's a challenge, and we love it. Sorry, I have one of our dogs is with me. This is
Well,
Joey.
pets and furry animals make the ratings go through the roof. So I'm
Well,
sure
yes,
we
this
just
is
gained another
Joni.
like 10 watchers, right?
Great,
Just there.
incredible. She's a sweet, sweet angel. She's probably not going to move for the rest of this time, but we'll see.
That's great.
But yeah, so yeah, and sometimes it's just people are like, I've been in a rut. I just need some rut breakers, and we're like, incredible. I can do that, no problem.
That's cool.
So
I
yeah,
love the concept of a surprise box. My wife got me. I'm not much of a reader myself. I just put that out there.
that's okay.
But
I don't
I,
judge.
I collect vinyl records. I love music, and my
Cool.
wife, I have a pretty decent collection of the stuff I like to listen to. But my wife, I think for Christmas one year, got me from a retailer that was maybe a few hours away, but a box, basically the same sort of thing. She
Cool.
filled out a survey on my behalf, kind of gave the store a reference of what I like and what I already
Mhm.
have, and yeah, then I got a box of like 6 vinyls in the mail.
That's
It was,
so
it was cool.
cool.
It was
Yeah,
cool. So it's the
exactly.
same concept. That's really
Exactly.
neat.
It's so nice. Like we also do gift cards, of course, and I know a lot
Yeah.
of readers like love to shop for books, so that's not a bad gift by any means. But it is kind of nice to have a choice between the gift card route or a surprise box. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit more about the community stuff. We
Yeah.
hinted at it a little bit, but I know you've got events that you do. Your list of events, there's probably like 10 upcoming events on your website.
Yeah.
I know you do have gaming events. Talk a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, totally. So we have honestly, part of it is just responsive to what people tell us they want. Like I said, like the
Mm,
community is so important, and creating a space where people want to just like come hang out and be um, an environment that isn't necessarily like a bar or a restaurant, right? And like we as a society, now I'm going to make first my like philosophical kind of picture on this. Like we have a shortage of third spaces, right? That's not your house, not your work, like where
mm,
you can just sort of be in public and be with people with similar interests. There is, I think, a shortage of that. And so we really aspire to be that for people. So we have everything from like Dungeons and Dragons nights. So we do like a monthly one shot D&D. And then we also right now are in the middle of a campaign, a 6 month campaign that I presume once we're done with that 6 month campaign, we'll start another if folks are interested in that. But then, yeah, we do these sort of like one off events. Some of them are author events, like this Jenna Voris event. She just came out with that new book, and so she'll be coming to the store for a talk and a signing. We have, as I mentioned before, all the book clubs, and then farther up on that list was Spring Fling, which is next weekend, which is one of our like family friendly events. My co-owner Jessica has wanted, like since we opened, she has wanted to do a tie dye event. Like this has just like been on her bucket list. She just like she
that's so
loves
cool.
tie dye, and she just like wants to do tie dye. And that is one of the fun things about having like a store and a property and some space is like we can kind of do what we want. So we're like, yeah, we're a bookstore. Why wouldn't we do tie dye? Like that's fine. So we just got all of these like white pocketbooks T-shirts with black logos printed. So you can tie dye a pocketbooks T-shirt and have sort of a one of a kind, like your
Yeah,
own tie
that's
dye.
cool.
You can do that, or you can just bring your own clothing or whatever items to tie dye. But so that'll be really fun. But in the summer, we're doing special story time. So we always do a story time year round on Friday mornings at 10:30. And then during the spring and summer, we are doing another one on Saturday mornings at 11 with a local teacher named Miss Lorian. She is the best. And it's all ages are welcome. She reads a story, and then there's always some sort of a craft or activity for the kids too.
Yeah.
So I say it's open for all ages. If you bring like a teeny tiny baby, they probably won't do the activity because they like have
Right.
never held anything before. That's okay. Like if we're not, that's completely fine. Sometimes it's just for the parents to have a place to take the little one, right? And so we can be that. But if it's someone who wants to make the bookmark that they're making or whatever, then they're welcome to. So we always do that on Saturdays. And then I mentioned Sip and Stitch, author events.
Yeah.
Gosh, I forget. We do now. So we recently opened on our second floor, kind of a stationery room. Like in addition to books, we love
Okay.
stationery. We consider those they're kind of linked. It's all paper products, right? We just like love documenting things. So we
Yeah.
created this stationery room. So it's like greeting cards, extensive collection of greeting cards, and then also like journals and fancy pens and, all
Okay.
of this type of stuff. But to accompany that, we also have what we call the book Bujo night on the first Thursday of each month. Bujo, I just learned. So I'm not that much of a stationary girly. This is more often. Book Bujo means book journaling. I think I did that. Book bullet journaling. Bullet journaling. Book Bujo. And so, like for folks who keep track of their reading, like physically, not on or in addition to an
Okay.
online system. There are apparently like very extensive ways that people do this. So we do that at the store on the first Thursday of the month. Austin staffs it because she's really into it. And so like if you're brand new and you're like, I've never done this, but I've heard of it and want to try, she can like help you kind of get it all set up. Or if you just want to like catch up on what you read last month, like in your book journal, you can do that. So that's another kind of like fun tie-in. But yeah, mostly we like people to hang out. We like to create a space. This past weekend we had a big makers market on our
Oh
wraparound
wow.
porch. So again, it's thinking about like how do we leverage the space that we have to also give other people a space to do the thing they're trying to do. So we had all these local makers come selling their art, their jewelry, their candles, soaps, plants, what have you. And it's just nice that the weather's nice again, so we're able to open it up to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
then now we've started doing trivia nights. This is a good.
that's
So now
amazing.
for first Friday, every first Friday we're going to do a trivia night. This past first Friday for May was Romantasy. Upcoming for June, in honor of Pride Month, we're doing queer trivia. Um,
Okay.
so that'll be really fun. It'll be the first Friday of June from 7:30 to 9. So yeah, y'all should come out. It's going to be really fun.
So I have to ask first, do you sleep? 'Cause you
No,
do
never. We're
so much
so
there.
tired. We're so tired. I am not. I have to tell you, I was talking to my parents the other day, having a good laugh about how when we opened a bookstore, we didn't realize it was also going to be like party planning and like event planning. Like
Right.
we
I mean,
recently, for Taylor Swift's new album, we threw a huge Taylor Swift party.
that's
And
awesome.
again, that's like not really about books. It's just that we really like Taylor Swift and
Yeah.
we know a lot of our customers really like Taylor Swift. So people just came and hung out and we like listen to Taylor Swift. Like it's all very, it's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
fun. So it is a little surprising to me how many events we do because that wasn't what I like originally realized we were going to be doing. But
Yeah.
you kind of like get this momentum and people are so excited, and so that makes it so fun. So yeah, it's not super restful yet, but we're doing what we love. So like, what do they say? There's no it's never work when you're doing I don't know. I'm really bad at idioms, but
I,
there's some idiom out there about it, I think.
I understand where you're going with that. I mean, if you just had a physical location with books in it and you turn the open sign on every day, you'd be out of business, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not a recipe for success. You have to do
Exactly.
things to bring people in, and I mean, kudos to you. I mean, you've got so much going on and so many different ways to bring people in, and recurring opportunities to bring people in.
Yeah,
I'm sure
for
you get
sure.
your events get pretty well attended, and there's different reasons
Yeah.
for people to attend. It's so cool.
Exactly. Like that's the thing is we do want to be a place for a ton of different people, right? Like we are not a monolith. We do not need everyone to be the same and to like the same
Yep.
things. And so having a huge variety of events is really fun because we bring totally different people in for different
Yep.
ones. And so like we're kind of the constant. It's the three of us who are the co-owners, and then we have a part-time employee, Cassie, whom we cherish and adore. And so it's the four of us. And so we're kind of the constant, like you're probably going to see some combination of us. And then we get the great privilege of hanging out with a huge range of people at all of these
Yeah.
different events. So it's really, really fun for us. And it does make it all worth it. And like, it's very rewarding, even when it is exhausting, because
Hmm. Hmm.
I think people are like hungry to have a place where they can just like hang out and be seen and be around people who like what they like. And, it's like kind of low key and it's, yeah, it's kind of low pressure. And We can be like
Yep.
as nerdy or as, have as many special interests as we want or whatever.
That's great. One of the things I saw on the events was a plant swap on
Yeah.
this upcoming weekend. My
Yeah.
my wife is super into plants, house plants,
Cool.
outdoor plants, whatever, and she goes to all these plant swaps like every day. It feels like she's going to a plant
I
swap. Like
love that.
she's digging up stuff in the yard and bringing stuff home, and like she's got all kinds of stuff that she hasn't been able to plant because it's been too
It's
rainy
been so
and
wet.
whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm
Love
sure if I
that.
mention,
Yeah. No, my gosh, send her over. No,
she
that's
will
what
be there.
we love that. Yeah, we love that. We also are plant people. Jessica, in particular, is the green thumb of the family.
Yep.
The three of us also live together, I should say. So we
Okay. Yep.
work together in the business, but the three of us also live together. So we have, we're so lucky. We have like a large yard at home as well.
Yep.
So we have places for Jessica to channel her green thumb. But yeah, so part of the reason we do things like plant socks is like we just want to swap. Like we have cuttings or we have, so we want to do it.
That's great. That's great. So, oh my gosh, I mean, there's so many things we've talked about, and of course we could talk about. One of the things I wrote down was pocket picks. What's a pocket
Oh,
pick?
yes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention this. Is like, I know I've said a lot of things are my favorite thing. First of all, if you haven't figured it out already, I'm extremely prone to hyperbole, and I'm not sorry. Like, it's just who I am.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. I'm allowed to enjoy many, many things. I think that that's underrated. So pocket picks, I love. It is our baby. We consider it our labor of love. What we do is it is a book subscription where every month all of our subscribers receive one book. It is the same book. Um, and specifically, we do it because we are trying to elevate voices of debut or early career authors. So, like, we aren't choosing books that folks have necessarily already like heard of and pre-ordered, or are definitely going to, pick up, or definitely going to get a lot of buzz and be like really pushed by the publishers. What we're doing is we are seeking out books that like might actually go a little bit under the radar, or might not get the amount of eyeballs that they frankly
Right.
deserve, just because they're earlier in their career. And so we're trying to kind of like elevate their profile. What we do to do that is we read dozens of forthcoming debuts. So like I usually am kind of the first screener of the group because we usually do kind of general fiction, like literary or general fiction, and I'm the one among us who most likes that kind of book. So I usually do the first round of screening. So I'll read like between 15 and 30 debuts that are coming up a few months from now that are going to be released. And like right now I'm reading for August. So I'm reading debuts that are going to be released in August to find the best one. And I'm specifically focused on, like, I love to focus on authors of color, queer authors, authors who, like have never put anything out before, whose debut, if this is their second book, maybe their debut flew under the radar, and they deserve more press. So we love to focus on that, but it's a huge range. We've done some that are a little bit more sci-fi, some that are a little bit more horror. But the agreement is all three of us have to unanimously be on board. Like I don't get to just like unanimously pick it. I do the first screening and then they have to read it. And so sometimes I'll go back to the drawing board because they're like, that's just a U book. That wasn't for me. I'm like, okay, never mind. So we unanimously agree on it. And then our subscribers receive it on its release day during that month. So like when I say I'm reading for August, that means I'm reading the debuts that are going to be released sometime during the month of August. So it might mean that you don't actually get your pocket pick until like the last Tuesday of August because that's its release day. But we love it. We ship nationwide. Our very favorite thing that one of our subscribers recently did is she had her entire book club. They're based in San Francisco. She had her entire book club subscribe to Pocket Pick, so they didn't know what book they were getting. And then when the book came out, we just sent it off to the book club. They all got their copies, and then they like what we do, I should have mentioned, in addition to the book itself that we curate or select specially, we also include analysis letters because we're nerds and we believe that people want to hear what we think about these books, which may or may not be true. We include a letter for you to read beforehand that explains sort of why we chose it, just to kind of contextualize it. And then there's a letter that is sealed that we ask you not to read until you've finished, so that you can kind of hear our analysis and thoughts on it, which again, like is maybe nerdy and maybe a little bit conceited. But like we love it. Like we're such like Austin literally has her PhD in literature. Like this is her favorite thing is to like deeply kind of analyze books. So our sealed letter at the end with our thoughts and analysis, we have gotten good feedback. I mean, a lot of people I think really do like it, but it's cool for book clubs because you don't have to like do the rigmarole of like how do you choose your next pick. We're kind of
Okay.
guaranteeing it's going to be very good and that
Yep.
there's going to be some really interesting stuff to talk about. And then we kind of give you, it's almost a discussion guide, right? Once you like get the letters at the end. So that is my favorite thing. Strongly encourage people to sign up. You can do like
That's
1 month. You get more bang for your buck if you sign up for 6 months or 12 months, but you can also do like a
Sure.
recurring 1 month. So we just bill you on a monthly basis for your book. But it's a labor of love. Like I said, a lot goes into it. I do more of my reading for that than for any of the other. I mean, we read constantly, read a ton, but most of my reading is focused on pocket picks because we're so committed to making sure that book is superb. And then yeah, when we can, we try to get signed copies from the authors so that there's like a little extra special something for our subscribers and that kind of thing.
That's really, really cool. Do you think people open the sealed letter before they read? Like, do they cheat?
I don't know. I don't think so because
Book readers are but they follow the
think
rules.
I don't think they want the spoilers because we do. We just like we let it all hang out. Like
Yeah.
at that point, like we're
Yeah.
gonna spoil the whole.
They don't want
I
the spoilers.
think they don't
Yep.
want the spoilers. But if anyone's watching, if you're a subscriber, tell me. I'm very interested. I don't know.
That's so cool. I love the concept of that. It's not just like your average subscription service. Yeah, you get a book
Yeah,
or you get whatever.
exactly.
You're going through and making it fun and interesting for the people getting the books. And I mean, you're going to read the books anyway, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and part of it, it's like for some people, I know they subscribe because they just want to branch out, and so they're like, "How do I read out of my comfort zone a little bit?" This is a really good way to do it because again, like we're not going to give you something that's not amazing. Like I've read really really good books, and I'm like, it still wasn't quite good enough. We're not,
yes,
we're not going to put our name on it. And I realize like at this point, we've only been doing pocket picks for a year, and so to say like our name, maybe doesn't carry that much weight, but we have a lot of belief in ourselves. We're very competent. And so we have this belief that like this store is going to be around forever. And ideally pocket picks will be too. And that someday we'll look back and see all the choices. And so we want to make sure that I realize this sounds very lofty, but like you do kind of have to dream, right? You kind of have to believe in
yeah.
yourself. So we take the decisions very seriously.
That's cool. In fact, that's a great segue into really the last question I have for the pocketbook section segment of this. I mean, 2 years in, great success so far. What's next? Like for the rest of 2024 and beyond, is there another like thing you're working on, like this pocket picks you've been doing for the last year? Like, is there something on the horizon or something you can talk about that's coming next for your business?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I should have been prepared for that. I
I like the
think
surprise.
I know, no, it's a good question. So, last year, so for year two, we were really focused on events. Like year one, we were focused on like how do we how do we exist. Year two, we were
Right.
focused on events. And we're trying to keep both of those going. And now we're in year three, and we're very focused on sustainability. And
Mm,
so part of it is making sure we're here long term. Like we do want to be something people can count on for years and years and years. And so part of it for us is like boring kind of administrative stuff, like refining how we order books, like which books we're ordering. There's so much that goes into that. There's so many more
hmm.
books that come out each week than we can possibly carry. So there's
Yep.
um, a lot of process and selection and curation that we do there. So some of it is kind of boring stuff like that on the back end, but then some of it is like we would love to ultimately have more employees. Like I said, we have one
Hmm.
right now, and she's incredible. But as you rightfully pointed out earlier, like there is a lot to do, and we're very tired. And so, like in a perfect world, we would
Hmm.
be a little bit more sustainable by having a few more hands kind of helping out. So like that's something that we're again, that's maybe not super exciting for the audience, but for us, that is
Yeah.
something that we aspire to. So, what does that mean in terms of like, how do we do a better job of tracking the success of our events? How do we do a better job of tracking what the ROI is
Hmm.
on various investments that we're making so that we know we're spending our time and resources in the right places? Um, so that's kind of like the short term for this year. And then
That's cool.
ultimately, I think we'd want to um, we have like in some ways they're small goals. Like we don't want to be billionaires. You know what I mean? Like we're not
Sure.
to franchise. Like we're not trying to um, really be anything but one of the places people love to come to in Lancaster and one of the
Yeah.
places
Yeah.
feel really safe and at home. So watching, the kids that have been coming into the store, watching the kids grow up is a joy. And kind of evolving with the city and growing with the city and helping to attract more tourists as well, because I know that's really good for the whole
Yeah.
kind of ecosystem here as well. So none of those
Yeah.
are super concrete,
Yeah.
but I think that's kind of where we are right now.
That's awesome. So a couple of comments, you may have seen them come across. There's Jeff,
Oh,
co-host of the show, who's on the road. He's checking in. He
that's so
loves the
nice.
micro interaction comment. And then Rachel Kantner,
Oh, hi,
friend of mine
Rachel.
and local artist, amazing artist, just had her first gallery show this past first Friday down in Lancaster.
Incredible.
I went and got a magnet and a sticker. So
Oh, that's
she got
so
some cool
cool.
stuff. So
Oh, we're gonna have
she's
to
a
check
fan.
that out. Yeah, that's
She's a fan of
amazing. Thank you,
pocketbook shops. In
Rachel.
fact, I don't know if you ever have an art event on your porch, but our patio,
Yeah,
but she would be a great person to have her art there on
amazing. We'll
display.
definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love what you're saying about the the employees. Where I think you commented it might not be exciting for the listeners or people watching, whatever, but it is, like, because when your time is freed up because you have employees that you can rely on to do all these other cool fun things that we talked about for the last 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting. I mean, what is the next, like, pocket picks sort of thing that you're going to come
Exactly,
up
because
with?
that's the thing is, yeah, like what haven't we thought of that new employees
Right.
can bring their new
Right.
ideas, and then those can be realized, right? Like there's something there. I didn't even mention, like, the space rentals are also something we do.
Yeah.
We also host weddings. So quick shout out if anybody wants to get married. We do host weddings. They're very beautiful,
That's cool.
but small. I will say there are about
Sure.
25 guests max. But yeah, I'm sure there are so many ideas we haven't thought of. And so part of the great benefit of bringing in more employees will be that we can just have more ideas.
Yeah, maybe we can do weddings in the mattress store. No.
Yeah.
I don't think that would go too well.
Maybe not. There could be a line there. I don't know.
Probably. Julie, this has been great. I've loved learning about the story of Pocketbook Shop and all the fun things that you're doing. I've got to come check it out. The address again, 903 Wheatland Avenue.
Yes,
in
exactly. That's
Lancaster.
right.
And
Yep.
the website, is that pocketbookshop.com?
That's exactly right. So there's two S's in a
Big
row.
double S in the middle.
Double S. It's gonna throw you, but it's shown up there on the screen. That is correct. So yeah, check us
Awesome.
out. You can do all your shopping, or just get a sense of what we have. And you can always call and ask if there's something. If you don't have a website or the internet in front of you, you can always ask us as well over the phone. We're open every day except Mondays.
Yep, that's awesome. And definitely, for those listening and watching, check out the events. There's an event almost every day, it looks like, on the calendar.
Exactly.
Some really, really cool ways to connect with the community. So, thanks for, coming to Lancaster, creating this awesome community
Absolutely.
space and store.
Our pleasure.
So, ready for
No,
the connection cocktail?
I'm ready.
Bring it on. All right. So, also in research of the show, I learned that you are Detective Julie.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That's true. Well, it just means that I like it's still book related, unfortunately. It just means I like a mystery and a thriller. I wish it meant, can I pretend that it means something else? I wish it meant that I was one of those people, those memes, the internet memes where it's like, if you give me 5 minutes and an Instagram handle, I can find out everything you need to know about such and such person. I wish that's who I was, but I'm slightly too old. I just missed. So I have to outsource when I need to do research on someone that I'm trying to understand everything about them. I outsource that to younger people. Not to be ageist, but I lack the skill set. I didn't come up with Instagram,
Right.
I predate that. So so really it's just about reading mysteries.
I feel you there. So let's see. If you weren't running Pocketbook Shop, what other dream would you chase? I asked the hard questions.
I know, it is a hard question. So my other great love, aside from books, is basketball.
Okay.
But specifically not playing. I don't want to play basketball.
You're not a hooper.
I'm not. I love watching basketball. I will watch any gender, any level.
Yep.
I just love the sport. I
Okay.
love most sports, but especially basketball. So like if I could just design a life, I would like be the ball girl for Dawn Staley at the University of South Carolina, just to
That's
like
so cool.
be around her. Like it's just something like nothing crazy. Like I don't need to like be the boss of anything. I just want to like be in the presence of greatness, like with the sport I love.
That's cool. So, did you get into the championship a month ago or a couple months ago?
Absolutely. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it was my whole personality. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So what
I love it.
would South Carolina be your favorite team to watch, or do you have a professional
I
team that you follow, or
I do love South Carolina. They are my favorite, in part because I love Dawn Staley, their coach, so
yeah,
much. I love how she creates team. I love the way that they play and the way that she kind of like leverages the skill sets on her team, regardless of whether or not there are superstars. She kind of
yep,
makes them into superstars. Thank you. Yes, she deserves this. She is just an icon. She's incredible. So that is probably my most number one team. I also, though, I love the WNBA. The season starts
yep,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Hot
yeah,
tip: WNBA League Pass is an extremely affordable way to watch all the games. I don't work for them,
okay.
but I just want people to know. Um, and so I will be watching the W. And I love so many teams, but for those that were into the college season, Caitlin Clark is playing for the Indiana Fever with
Yeah, yeah,
Aaliyah Boston, who was on South Carolina. So like that's going to be a very fun team to
that's
watch.
cool.
But
That's
I'm
cool.
partial to the Phoenix Mercury because Brittany Griner
Oh
is
yeah,
also one of my favorite of all time.
yep,
But then I
yep,
also watch the MNBA, or what I call the men's NBA.
sure.
And I'm from Massachusetts, so I watch the Celtics, which is incredibly
Ah,
unpopular. I know I shouldn't.
all right. This interview is over.
I know. I don't
Over.
know why. I didn't have to disclose that. I shouldn't have disclosed it. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's cool. Hey, they're still surviving. They're still
I guess.
surviving.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we'll see.
I
I don't have a lot of confidence, but
yeah, they were so dominant all year. I'm a Sixers fan,
of
and
course, naturally, yeah.
you brought up Dawn Staley. She I went to one of the Sixers playoff games. Well, they got bumped in the first round, but their first home game in the first round I was at, and they always have somebody that they have the Liberty Bell they bring out in the court, and they
Yeah.
always have somebody ring the bell. It was Dawn Staley. She came out in the court. She was announced. She rang the bell. The crowd went crazy, and this was like
Wow. You
right
got to be in the
after.
same room as John. That's incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
ride
Place
that story
well, and
forever. That's incredible.
she's a Philly girl, so
I
like
mean, she is,
the place went
exactly.
crazy. But
Yeah. That's
yeah,
amazing.
all right. So yeah, we didn't need to talk about the Celtics on the show. I'm sorry,
I'm
we
so
brought it
sorry. I'm
up. So
sorry. I shouldn't have.
no, it's fine. Last question. Last
Yeah.
question. If you're spending a night in Lancaster, like a Saturday night in Lancaster, what are you doing?
Okay. The honest answer is not very
Reading.
like hip. Well, okay, reading, but that I can do slightly better than that. Our very favorite place, and this is what like I don't see a lot of the youngs here, but our favorite place to have a celebration or to like be fancy or to like yeah to kind of like take a moment and and celebrate is at the Belvedere.
Oh, it's a great
Um,
place.
it is the greatest. We love it so much. So we go to the
Yep.
Belvedere every time we have something to celebrate. Um, for our anniversaries, like our store, birthdays, we do it. When we survived our first year, which feels like a big thing, we went
Yep.
there. So in a perfect like on a perfect Saturday, I'm at the Belvedere. But I don't know. You could find me at Zotropolis. I love Zotropolis.
Yeah.
That's very
Yep.
cool and fun. Yeah. I don't know.
I could
Usually it
see
involves food.
I could see a books and beverage collaboration with Pocket Books and Belvedere.
Absolutely.
That would be
Oh
pretty
my
cool.
gosh, that would be my dream
Yeah.
come true.
Yep. Yep.
For
Well, that's
sure.
cool. Yeah. Wonderful place. Great food. Great entertainment. Great
Absolutely.
community, right?
Yeah,
Just what
no,
you
I
do in
love
there
it
at Pocket
there.
Books.
I love
Yep.
it. Yep.
Well, Julie, our time is up. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you
Thanks for being
so
on. Thanks for
much. Yeah.
introducing us to Pocketbook Shops. And I'm sorry we had to talk about the Celtics. That's not.
I know I shouldn't have done it. I ruined the whole thing. But no, thank you so much for your time and for
Yep.
talking to me. And yeah, it was just I'm so grateful to the community in Lancaster generally. But like this is part
Yeah,
I love getting to know people and getting to chat about our little shop. And I hope you'll come by. We'll love to
we
see
will.
you.
And like I said,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell my wife about this plant swap on Saturday, and
Please,
I'm sure she'll be
yes,
there.
perfect.
No. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day off today. I'm sure it's,
Thank
as a
you.
business owner, it's probably not really a day off. It's just,
Right. A different day though. Yeah.
different day. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
thanks so much. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye. That was a great conversation. I've got a few minutes here, and I should wrap up and say, if you're watching, listening, check out pocketbookshop.com. Check out all the cool events they're doing, the community space that they've curated and created there, and of course, buy a book when you're in there. So thank you to Julie for being on the show. Just a couple quick things. I'm going to skip the sleep better tip, but just in the interest of time, but we have our own book. It's called Sleep Better, Helpful Sleep Tips and Information. We will mail you a copy for free. There's so many things that you can do to your sleep to impact it beyond just getting a new mattress. Obviously, a new mattress is what we do best here. We can help you wake up happy every morning through a new mattress, but there's a lot of things that you can do to improve your sleep or impact your sleep that don't involve a mattress. And the Sleep Better book is chock full of those ideas and information. Again, free information. We will mail you a copy, or you can stop by our store, 830 Plaza Boulevard, Lancaster. We're just behind Park City Mall on Plaza Boulevard. Come in and pick up a book, or we'll mail you your own copy. Go to gardenersmattressandmore.com/sleep-better. Basically, go to Gardner's website, scroll down, you'll see the Sleep Better book there. Quick testimonial. We had a handwritten testimonial come in here this past week from Kate and Rob. We always ask in these surveys how our staff did, and this particular couple worked with Phil, and they said Phil was amazing. He was super helpful, and most of all, he was patient with us, mainly Kate. He also had a great vibe about him that this customer appreciated. So I liked hearing that about Phil, and I'm glad our customer had that feeling about our employee. And also the question of their overall experience on a scale of 1 to 10, he would give it a 20. Rob would give it a 20. So many of his friends need a mattress, and I'm sending them your way. So thank you, Rob, for the kind words. Thank you for your business. Hopefully you're waking up happy every morning, because that's what we like to do here. So I think that's the show. Thank you to Julie Ross from Pocketbooks Shop right here in Lancaster. A great conversation there. And next week, we'll have a great show as well. Again, every Monday at 2 o'clock. Facebook on the Lancaster Connects and Gardener's Mattress and More Facebook pages. YouTube, same thing. Search up Lancaster Connects, search up Gardener's Mattress and More. You'll find us on there every Monday at 2 o'clock. And of course, on the on the LancasterConnects.com website as well. You can check out past episodes and, of course, stream the current episode Mondays at 2 o'clock. I think that's it. So till the next connection, see you next time.